After 7 long years, we are finally making the return to Hell's Kitchen. And because Netflix's Daredevil show was not the last time we saw either Daredevil or Kingpin, let's talk about everything you need to know before watching Daredevil Born Again. Starting everything off with the beginning of Netflix's Daredevil Season 3, we are picking up with Matt Murdock as he is recovering from a severe injury he sustained in the Defenders show at the end where he was fighting the Hand and a building fell on top of him. He's being looked after by Father Lantom, who has been in the entire series, and Sister Maggie. And plot twist, we find out in the season that Sister Maggie is actually Matt's mother, who left him when he was a young boy. At this point, Matt is doing everything he possibly can to recover and get back to full health because he is fully committed to being Daredevil and Daredevil alone. He believes that Matt Murdock is actually his alias and his real persona is Daredevil. Meanwhile, Wilson Fisk is in prison and he is snitching on Albanian crime bosses in exchange for Vanessa's protection. Now that obviously doesn't go well. He gets into a major fight in the prison, he has people attacking him, and he does what he does best. He manipulates the system and gets out of prison to become on house arrest. From here, Wilson Fisk leaves the prison and he is on his way to his massive mansion where he is going to be spending his house arrest. But along the way, his convoy is attacked by the Albanians because of the snitching he did in prison. And after a really well done firefight, we meet one of the most important characters in the entire Daredevil universe, Ben Poindexter, aka Bullseye. When we first meet Dex, he is a run-of-the-mill FBI agent who was an absolutely incredible shot. But after learning a little bit more about him and seeing his backstory, we learn that he is an absolute psychopath with stalking issues. And who learns this but Kingpin? He takes this and he manipulates the situation, and eventually Ben Poindexter starts to work for Wilson Fisk and become the bad guy. And because he is so good at what he does, Wilson Fisk takes the Daredevil suit that he has, puts Ben Poindexter in the suit, and turns Daredevil against the entire city. And because Fisk is sending Dex after people like Karen Page because of their history, as well as Foggy Nelson after he publicly said he would put Fisk back behind bars, Matt must now re-enter out of the shadows and tell everyone he knows and loves that he is actually alive. And there's a lot of other big important information that happened in Season 3 for that specific storyline, which included Agent Nadeem and his testimony against Wilson Fisk that would have put him behind bars, but of course Wilson Fisk did what he did best, and he bought the system. From there, Matt actually discovers that Fisk was behind the death of Julie, the character that Dex was obsessed with, and he told Dex that way he can get him to turn on Fisk. And this is where all hell breaks loose, as Dex and Matt both show up at Wilson Fisk and Vanessa's wedding with an all-out brawl taking place between the three of them. Some of the best fighting takes place in this sequence, which ended up with Fisk giving Dex the Bane treatment and breaking his back. Even though Matt thought earlier in the season that he was going to have to kill Wilson Fisk because he doesn't stop in any capacity, he actually spares his life after defeating him in return for him going back to prison and promising that Karen and Foggy will be safe. Not only that, but they also make a deal for Vanessa to also be protected. Season 3 of the show, which would end up being its last and final on Netflix, ends with the three